Hi everyone, it's Mark Merrill with Firm. Before we get started on our topic today, we want to send prayers for Helene and Milton hurricane victims and flooding. Now, we here at Firm urge all Americans to pray for the survivors and families that lost loved ones over the past several days for these horrific storms. So for ways that you can help on those people's recovery, getting on with life in new homes or locations, please contact Samaritans Purse on this link right here, and we will provide it in our comments at the end of our program today. And also Mercury1.org. Mercury One is a division and an organization dedicated to helping victims of natural disasters like this, as well as tornadoes, earthquakes, and anything else. An organization founded through Glenn Beck's organization in Texas, Blaze Media. Thanks for your help, folks. Now, as we move on, today's topic, folks, is Georgia on our minds, among others. Why Georgia? Well, recently, folks, the Georgia Supreme Court made a ruling on abortion law, an article written by the Epoch Times and presented and reported on October 7th. So we're going to start with this one right here and give you a few details about it. The Georgia Supreme Court has reinstated the state's abortion law. I'm sure that's not very pleasant news to the left, since they've always been the ones to promote hate, violence, and murder. But the ban on abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected will go back into effect as the case proceeds, from this Epoch Times report and the Georgia Supreme Court. The judge's ruling striking down Georgia's abortion ban was stayed. The stay means that the ban on abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected will go back into effect as the case proceeds. 6 justices, folks, 6, granted a request by Georgia officials to reinstate the ban after a county judge September 30th concluded that the law violates the right of women in the state to have an abortion. Here we go again, huh? They just don't learn. A county judge concluded that the violation of the rights of the women in the state to have an abortion is not under the First Amendment. It's not constitutional. Here we go again. The one-page order from the Georgia court, a majority of justices said they were staying McBurney's ruling as of late in the afternoon, October 7th. The majority did not explain their reasoning, but the law states that abortion is not authorized if the heartbeat of an unborn child has been detected. Exceptions, folks. These are the truth and facts that we deal with on a regular basis right behind me. You should already know this with Firm. Exceptions include cases in which doctors determine a medical emergency exists and, in some instances, incest or rape. That pretty much cover it all? Gee, I hope so. It's terrible. I can't stand it anymore, folks. I don't know about you, but it's like, can you get a clue, get a life or something? I don't understand what the heck these leftists are all about, and especially the LGBTQ and transgender people. My body, I can do what I want to with it. No, it's not. You have a life growing inside of you. And guess what? We got another one coming right behind it here, folks, and we're going to show you that it's a human being. We'll get to this one in a moment, folks, but we'll get a little bit more history here on the state of Georgia, as they were one of the states affected, as we aforementioned, about the hurricanes Helene and now Milton, which is just passing through the state of Florida on its way out to the Atlantic Ocean, but not without the destruction left in its path, unfortunately, for a lot of people. Now, Alabama's IVF reality and its far-reaching impacts is everything you need to know. This was back in February of this year, folks. Yeah, almost 8 months ago. Human embryos are children, they ruled. The Alabama Supreme Court issued a positive ruling regarding IVF, which affirmed the personhood of human beings from the moment of conception. What is IVF? We'll give you some details about it in a moment, folks. But as far as the state of Georgia is concerned, Georgia, called the constituent state of the United States, ranking fourth among United States states east of the Mississippi in terms of total area, though first in terms of land area and by many years the youngest of the 13 former English colonies. Georgia was founded in 1732, at which time the boundaries were even larger, including much of the present-day states of Alabama and Mississippi. The landscape presents numerous contrasts with more soil types than any other state, as it sweeps from the Appalachian Mountains in the north, on the borders of Tennessee and North Carolina, to the marshes of the Atlantic coast on the southeast, and Okefenokee Swamp, which it shares with the state of Florida in the south. The Savannah and Chattahoochee rivers form much of Georgia's eastern and western boundaries with South Carolina and Alabama, respectively, and the capital, of course, I think most people know, is Atlanta. Just some FYI, folks. Now, back to the story here about in vitro fertilization. That's what it stands for. Also called IVF. It's a complex series, though, of procedures that can lead to pregnancy. It's a treatment for infertility, is what it is. A condition in which you cannot get pregnant after at least a year of trying for most couples. IVF can also be used to prevent passing on genetic problems to a child. Gee, that sounds like it's a pretty good procedure to me. During the in vitro fertilization, or IVF, mature eggs are collected from ovaries and fertilized by sperm in a lab. Then a procedure is done to place one or more of the fertilized eggs, called embryos, in a uterus, which is where babies develop. You pay attention out there, all of you young women between 18 and 22, college age, you better be. Alabama's not going to be the only state to confirm this, folks. Life is life created by God through women, like it or not. And the ones who like to say that the women have a choice, the old pro-choice argument from way back, even during Obama couldn't even make up his mind as to whether he was in favor of, gay rights or abortion. Then he changed his mind. Doesn't say much for him, does it? So, one full cycle of in vitro fertilization takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes the steps are split into different parts and the process can take longer. But IVF is the most effective type of fertility treatment that involves the handling of eggs and embryos and sperm. Together, this group of treatments is called assisted reproductive technology. The left likes to think their reproductive health care just perform an abortion. Ouch! That can also be dangerous to the woman carrying the baby. You don't believe me, you can look it up. IVF can be done using a couple's own eggs and sperm, or it may involve eggs, sperm, or embryos from a known or unknown donor. In some cases, a gestational carrier, someone who has an embryo implanted in the uterus, might be used. Your chances of having a healthy baby using IVF depend on a lot of factors, such as your age and the cause of infertility. What's more, IVF involves getting procedures that can be time-consuming, expensive, and invasive. If more than one embryo is placed in the uterus, it can result in a pregnancy with more than one baby. It's called a multiple pregnancy. Your healthcare team, for those of you who need to know and know the facts, any healthcare team, OB-GYNs, maternity centers, can help women understand how IVF works, what the risks are, and whether it's right for you. This, ladies and gentlemen, is from a book from the Mayo Clinic we've gotten over to you today. It's called the Mayo Clinic Family Health Book. If you want more information on that one, folks, you certainly can go to mayoclinic.com. Now, folks, as we move along here quickly on today's program, which we are titling Georgia's on Our Mind, among other things, we'd like to go ahead and show you some organizations. One before us already, you see, dedicated to saving babies' lives and the sanctity not only of real maternal health care. Despite the hate and violence that's evolved since Roe v. Wade was abolished nationwide in June of 2022. So what we have next here is in front of us, folks, you can see Resolve Life Center. As we said, American organizations, both local and national. They are located in our central main city here nearby in Waterville. They are dedicated to help you with no judgment, no pressure, no cost, and just care. Also, our stellar representative from the Maine legislature, Ms. Laurel Libby, state representative and also organizer and founder of SpeakUpForLife.com. Certainly check her organization out, as well as Resolve Life Center here in Maine. And lastly, folks, I'm sure you're familiar with our friend here, Jay Sekulow, who is the founder and president of ACLJ, American Center for Law and Justice. He and his son Jordan, primarily on Rumble quite a bit, and many other networks around the country, fighting in the courts to stop Planned Parenthood, number one, once and for all, and any other types of harassment, violence, or threats that come from the left, especially the Biden-Harris regime, or any of the other cronies out there who still think they're in charge of this country. And lastly, folks, we want to move over here to our friend Sam Sorbo. She is the author of this book, and what a fantastic book it is. We've promoted it many times before here on Firm, Words for Warriors. It is we have on hand today an appropriate segment from it. It's all about abortion. But her book is about fighting back against crazy socialists and the toxic liberal left. To wrap things up today, folks, on abortion, you know what the synonyms are for abortion? Murder, infanticide, and child sacrifice. The purposeful termination of a pregnancy involving pills or surgical tools, usually within the first 28 weeks of a typical 40-week gestation period. That's abortion. Pro-abortion advocates deceptively cloak their arguments in the words choice, autonomy, right to privacy, reproductive health, that we hear a lot here in Maine, and traffic in what-if scenarios. What if the woman can't afford a baby? What if the woman was raped? What if the baby is deformed? There's no answer to any of those questions that addresses the heart of the issue, the value of human life. The choice they make is to the end of a life, or to end one. Their right to privacy is taking away the baby's right to life. The autonomy over their own body infringes upon the autonomy of the baby's body. The arguments are rhetorical gymnastics on the left, rooted in narcissism. Get this one. They believe the woman is God. Gee, I thought I was right on the button when I talked about the celebrities and especially the female ones, athletes, actors, musicians, you name it. I called them demigods. I guess they think they're even above us. Her feelings, meaning the woman, her plans and convenience are all that matter. If the baby interferes with her life, she determines that it has no value and can be destroyed. Did you know? This better hit home with many people. That Justin Bieber, Cher, Tim Tebow, Representative Marlon Stutzman, Republican of Indiana, Pope John Paul II, Celine Dion, and Nick Cannon, actor, America's Got Talent, were all born to mothers who almost aborted them but chose not to. That's where it is, folks. That's the bottom line when it comes to life. And we better pray lots and lots over the next few weeks that things will start changing to preserve life and not destroy it. As always, folks, please tune in to our programs on rumble.com/users/fairnessmedia1, Twitter, YouTube, and email us anytime at fairnessandreportingmedia@gmail.com. As always, stay safe, pray for our country, and also pray for Israel. Peace to all.